Good afternoon, ladies. What a strange time we live in. This morning I was reading about a basketball tournament in Indiana, actually the sectional games that were being played, and they had found the first case of coronavirus in Indiana about 5 minutes away from the arena where they were playing the sectional games. The schools and state decided to go forward with the games, and now it's turned out that the head coach for one of the winning teams and the assistant coach and a number of others got the virus from their participation in the game. The head coach did survive. The assistant coach was not as fortunate. Sorry, Lance. But the head coach had blood clots in his lungs and will forever be scarred by this. And 5 people have died because of that. So it's a little bit interesting and scary, and just something that, as we're dealing with this, it's something to keep in mind that there are people who, because of high school sports in Indiana, at least 5 people now have lost their lives because of this. So it's with that in mind that I come to you in kind of a combination season wrap, and looking forward to next season and senior night, all kind of in one video. I will say that when I kind of heard the news about the season being delayed and then the news that the season was canceled, it was sad, because I think we really had an opportunity to be a really good team this year, and it was going to be a fun season. I think that's something that Coach and I picked up on right away in the summer when we got the girls together, and even Coach had seen a number of you guys play some of the new players played previously, and then even the scrimmage we had last year. So it was fun. It was a fun 11 days of practice, and sorry that it could not have been more, but we will look back and look forward in the next couple of minutes. So as I do this, I've actually never spoken at a season-ending kind of wrap-up. I've always done it after practices and then been out of town for some of the events, but it harkens back to a story I remember as my son and I, when he was a freshman, and he was having his season wrap, and the way the high school in Green Bay did that is that all the sports would do it at the end of the season. And so all the coaches you'd have dinner, and then all the coaches would get up and talk, and it got to be long. And the thing I remember is that was the year that the boys, one of the 7 out of 9 years that they went to state tournament in basketball, but it was the first year, so everyone was kind of excited, and they'd saved the boys basketball till the end, and they'd gone through a number of things, and the last last sport to go right before basketball was girls softball, and the coach talked for 20 minutes, and story after story, and it was kind of ridiculous. And afterwards, my son Caleb and I were driving home, and we said, we're going to make a new rule that you can only speak 1 minute for each win that the team had that year. And the reason why we made that rule is because the softball team at that point had not won a game. And so that was kind of our way of having the coaches move things along. And one of the nice things about doing this today, this way, is that I have no time limit. I just have to make sure that it's a video that can be edited, brought up to YouTube, and shared. So just kind of going to share some thoughts as we go. So first of all, it is a disappointment. It's a disappointment for, not just the people who are watching this video, your parents, the fans, the school, but it's, seniors all over, high schoolers all over, college players all over are kind of dealing with this kind of unprecedented situation, or at least unprecedented in our lifetimes. And so as part of this, it's sad and we look back, but it's also kind of a time to look forward. And so for the freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, we're unsure if we're even going to be able to play next year, but I certainly hope that we will. And in a way, it's kind of your team now. And it was exciting to kind of come into this season. I've talked a little bit about this, but to have a bunch of new players, 6 new players who are coming in, and who are going to compete for playing time and starting positions, and I think really raise the level of the team. And that was exciting, and it's still For those who are coming back, it's still going to be a strong program. I think one of the things that having been around with my son and daughter, both at Lutheran High for my daughter and then back at the high school in Green Bay for both of them, one of the things that I think at a small school, when you have a sport like soccer that needs a lot of players, it's important to have a good spread of players. And so something with 3 to 5 players per class is always good. And it's something that we've struggled with because we had the class last year with no seniors who played soccer. And so that was a tough class to kind of deal with and work with numbers. And this year we did exactly have that. We had 3 to 5 for every class. And that was, builds a strong program because you're always bringing players back. So I'm excited for next year, if there is a next year, or the year after that, if there's a year after that. And I don't know how long this will take. Certainly people are getting antsy, and I don't know that people can sit at home for 12 to 18 months, but we'll focus on that when it comes. And so excited to that. I'll speak to each of the classes. Freshmen, five freshmen coming in, and as I said, 5 freshmen who would be competing for starting roles, and certainly all of you would have had a lot of playing time for the team. And that's exciting. It brought new energy to the team. It brought the level of everyone up. And just hope that you guys keep with it, and hope to see you guys, whether we're able to do things in the summer or next year. Just really excited to get to work with you a little bit longer. To the sophomores, I think last year you guys had last year being when you were freshmen, you guys kind of got thrown to the lions right away, and a number of you, while still kind of developing your skills and learning the game, were forced into playing quite a bit and playing important minutes and playing important positions. And I think one of the things that I encourage you to do is to continue to develop your skills, continue to develop your just knowledge of the game. And I know it's hard to watch soccer right now because there's not a lot of live soccer, but there are videotaped games and tape-delayed games that they're showing on TV, and continue to kind of develop that sense that you have for soccer. I'm a big believer in multi-sport athletes. I think it's important to do different things, use different muscles, play different games, and I know the entire team has a lot of players who play multiple sports, and so continue to do that. When it's volleyball season, focus on volleyball season. When it's basketball, tennis, cheerleading, whatever it may be, cross country, I encourage you to focus on those things. But it's kind of still soccer season, and so for all of you, it's still a good opportunity to kind of work on those soccer skills. We've put videos out for you. We've put videos or links to other videos out. And those are some good things that, in this time when you're kind of stuck inside or stuck at home, these are some things that you can kind of work to. Juniors. In a way, it's kind of your team now. I know it's everyone's team for the classes down, but now you guys are going to be asked to take a leadership role. And I already can see that. I could already see that with especially, Austin and Sage being back last year, 2 of 6 players who are back and taking a leadership role. And, all the juniors are going to kind of have to do that and encourage the team to, to kind of stick together through this as much as possible and prepare for next year. And I look forward to working with you. I kind of said before the season in the opening meeting that the seniors are the first team, or the first group, the first class that kind of I saw all the way through, but I didn't really see all the way through because I didn't start their freshman year as an assistant coach. Came in the month of April and was an assistant. So the juniors now, who will be seniors next year, you guys will be the first class that I will see all the way through. I really hope this doesn't happen, and really hope that they can kind of figure out what to do about this situation. And even if we're playing games in front of no fans, or just parents kind of socially distancing on the sideline, I hope we have a season next year, and we can work towards that. Seniors, this is kind of a sad goodbye, and unfortunate that we're doing it this way. I know 3 of you I expect to see at church, and Tori, you have a sister on the team, so I hope when you're able to come and and be around, that you are. You guys are always welcome to stop in, run a practice with us. It's always good for the girls to kind of compete against people who aren't the same practice after practice. I do, you know, as I've said, it's disappointing. It's a disappointing, unusual way to end your high school career and the season and everything like that. But you know, there's larger things at play right here, and people's lives at play, and so I hope everyone's able to kind of get past that disappointment and to think about you know, what's at stake here, and know that we're all doing our part, as painful as it may be. In normal senior night, I'd have a sheet of paper. You guys would have told me all the things to say, so I'm going to kind of guess at some of these things, and we'll see, right or wrong, how it is. You know, I did say, you know, three of you, I did kind of mention 3 of you are members of Beautiful Savior, so I hope to see you around. I'm going to say this now. I've had kids go through college. I've seen kids go through college. I've obviously gone through college myself. It's a difficult transition from, can be a difficult transition from a, you know, kind of a smaller school to all of you going to somewhat larger schools. Get connected with the church. I know it's going to be tempting to not get connected at all. It can be tempting to get connected to student groups like InterVarsity or something like that, Campus Crusade, which are not Lutheran based, and you know, if that's all that's available, fine. But you know, I think what worked really well for my kids, worked really well for myself, worked really well for my wife, is to get connected to a local church, and you can do that online. There's an LCMS church locator. Find out which one in the area has the campus connection, and get involved, because that's more than anything else that I think you take away from your Lutheran high school 4 years, is I hope that you take away your faith, and the faith that's grown and developed. And you don't want that to drop and to not be an important part. And I hope to see you, at least 3 of you, you know, in church when we're able to do that, and on holidays and breaks. And it'd be great to stop over and say hi. I look forward to that. But with that, let's kind of give a summary. Again, I might be guessing on some of these things. I might just be making things up intentionally. But Hannah, you know, I believe 4 years, well, I know 4 years of soccer. I believe 3 years of volleyball, 4 years of basketball. You know, if you're supposed to tell me what your career highlight was or your favorite memory. I'm going to speculate that it was probably scoring goals, multiple goals against Kaufman last year in games. For me, one of the fond memories I have was you stepping up against Barstow in the penalty shootout and calmly putting your goal away. So, you know, very strong contributor to the team over your 3+ years of being actually able to play. Really happy that last year you were pretty healthy for most of the season. Didn't miss any games, didn't miss any time, and I think that was good after a couple of years of kind of fighting through some of your ankle injuries. And I know you're going to Wichita State. Don't know much about Wichita State. They were in Drake's conference. I went to Drake. So I know that the Shockers don't even remember for sure what you're going for, hoping it's math, science, medicine, maybe something like that. But we'll see. Enjoy your time there. One thing I do know about Wichita State is I looked it up, and Wichita is not a state. Sarah's going to Iowa, if I remember right. Big Ten school, which you know, obviously is the most impressive of the 4 collegiate choices that any of the seniors made. If it couldn't be Wisconsin, of course, Iowa's a very strong place. Just a kind of a side story, when my daughter was looking at schools, we were in the kind of in that transition time from moving from Wisconsin to the Kansas City area. And Drake was one of her options, and Wisconsin was one of her options when we were in Wisconsin, but when we moved here, it was pretty far away, so she chose Nebraska as her second choice. Well, at least it ended up to be her second choice, but another option. And when we went there, one of the times I went to visit with her, it was interesting because they talked about Nebraska moving to the Big Ten and how that was important for their athletic program. but how programs, but that it was also very important for their academics and how they got into the Big Ten Conference, and they realized they had to raise the level of their academic programs, their research, everything like that. So impressive that that you're going to a Big Ten school, and I wish you well there. Actually, for all four of you, I don't remember what you were going to study, but for some reason, something medical is sticking in my mind for you, Sarah. Wish you well there. Know that you did volleyball, I believe it was 3 seasons, cross country for at least 2, and basketball, I believe, for 4, and soccer for 4. You know, I'm guessing, you know, favorite memory, I'm going to kind of speculate that you had a couple shutouts. We haven't had a lot of shutouts over the last 3-4 years, but I believe everyone that we did have, at least since I was head coach, you were in goal the whole time. And so, you know, those are a couple of the memories that I'd have there. Kind of maybe of all the seniors, maybe most disappointed for you, because I know you've struggled with injuries for 3 years, and was really hoping that you'd have a kind of an injury-free senior year with a stronger team, with more ability to possess the ball, that it'd really get to, you know, kind of shine on your resume as far as you know, your time in goal, and that you know, a couple 7-0 losses here and there wouldn't mar you know, what you would be able to put up on your resume this year. So sad for that, but just thank you for you and all the seniors for all the leadership and opportunities that you guys took part in over the last 3+ years. Faith. So Faith, you know, I believe 4 years of volleyball, 4 years of basketball, 4 years of soccer, you know, MVP for 2 years, all-state second team, I believe, both sophomore and junior year. You know, led the team in scoring last year, led the team in assists, and second in scoring the year before that. Freshman year had to be up there, even not playing a whole lot of games. One of my memories was your freshman year when you were kind of coming back from your injury, and I asked you if, you know, what you've been doing to stay in shape. You said, "Oh, I've been riding the bike." And I said, "Well, we'll see how that works." And your first game back was against Sacred Heart, and you went out and you came off the first time and you were like just dead. You couldn't even breathe, and you're like, and I said, "Yep, it's not the same as biking." But certainly, you know, multiple games with hat tricks last year, and I think even that you had one or two early freshman year. You know, very strong player, and that's kind of recognized in some of the awards and recognition that you've received. You know, this kind of goes out to all four seniors, but I know, Faith, you were a large part of this, is that after your sophomore years, you know, the numbers, we had 16 players, 6 girls graduated, and 4 players did not come back, and all of a sudden, looking at a team that was probably going to be bringing 10 players back, we're bringing 6 players back, and there's a lot of question about the program. And Faith, I know you kind of took the lead, and all the seniors were current seniors, when you guys were juniors, were part of this, is recruiting and keeping the team together. And so, you know, some of this is a time to kind of think back on your legacy and memories. And there's not going to be a banner up in the gym that says, you know, that the team won district or won state or anything like that. You know, certainly our record over the last 3 years wasn't spectacular. But when I look at, like, when Abby left the high school in Green Bay, and they went 2 seasons without a team, and then they've come back, and I don't know if they'll play this year or not, but that would be their 4th or 5th year as a co-op. They've never really been able to stand alone as a team since then. And Sacred Heart, I mentioned them, and that they do not have a team, and does not seem like they're going to plan to have a team. So schools can lose when you're a smaller school and you're looking for a sport that requires at least 11 players to even just field a team, and a few more to field subs. You know, I think one of the legacies that this class will leave behind is that every success that this school has with soccer going forward will depend somewhat and owe some gratitude to the four of you, and even to a couple of the juniors who made sure that we had enough players to make it through last year. You know, we struggled. We developed last year, but it was great just to have a team and be out on the field. And you know, and so much credit goes to you and Faith as kind of taking the leadership for that. Going to Arkansas, I don't know a whole lot about Arkansas. I know Todd Day, Oliver Miller, and Lee Mayberry, basketball players back from the Nolan Richardson 40 Days of Hell, but I don't know much about the school. Kind of puzzled a little bit about the school choice. So I've come kind of with maybe two concepts, and maybe someday you can kind of tell me which one of these two kind of led you to Arkansas. One of them is that maybe you just don't like to wear shoes. Maybe it's the foot injuries or something like that, and going to school in a state where, you know, most people don't wear shoes might be a real, you know, plus for you. The other possibility is that you have a cute cousin that you like, and going to Arkansas may give you a chance to build on that relationship. So I don't know which one it is, but wish you well. Again, I don't remember something medical or something engineering, not exactly sure, but do wish you well there. And finally, Tori, I'm sure your favorite memory might go back to the second Kaufman game where you struck a ball and scored a goal just before half, kind of like the last shot, time running out shot. You know, scored a couple of goals last year, and I think that's pretty cool. Certainly all those years leading the defense from the back, whether it was leading or fighting with grace. I also suspect that you do hold the school record for female red cards. I've been around the program since 2014, and I may have missed something, but I believe you have the only 2 red cards there. But I know neither one of them were like lipping off to a ref or anything like that. But it is kind of a little bit funny that you do kind of maybe hold that record. You know, obviously, you know, leading the defense is not always easy, but I'm you know, very proud of the way you kind of stepped up and did that. You know, I believe 2 years, if I remember right, 2 years of all district and all region. It is impressive for you as well. Missouri State, I don't know really anything about Missouri State. It's one of those negatives for someone who's from the Midwest and, you know, kind of coming down here, more southern part of our country, and not really knowing the schools. And again, I don't remember what you're going for, but wish you well there. Is Missouri State the Bears? Maybe. But you know, wish you all that's well. The rep. Again, it's sad, but I hope when you look back with perspective, when we all look back with perspective on, you know, the things going on in this country and this world, that we recognize the risks that would have been in place for family members, ourselves, you know, fans within the schools. And you know, while we may not always agree with the decisions and they hurt, you know, I hope with time and perspective we're able to realize that this was the right decision. It's sad, and you know, maybe we'll be able to do something this summer. And seniors, as I said, you're always invited to come out and join in, you know, in the activities. But I certainly wish you all well, and wish you well as the school year finishes up. Probably about 4 or 5 weeks here. Unusual times. Hang in there. Can't give you a ton of advice because I've never been through anything like this before. I've been at home now, working from home for about 5 weeks, and you know, learning to readjust to that. I had done that for almost 10 years, but you know, I have staff now in you know, 4 different states now, as they've kind of scattered and kind of gone their own way, and learning to manage that and try to do that, and you know, pray that you guys are able to continue your education, you know, your progress towards becoming strong leaders, strong witnesses to your faith, and building on the knowledge that you guys have developed for the last 4 years at Lutheran High and taking that to the college level and being contributing parts of society. I really enjoyed, I know I speak for Coach Ogborn when I say this, we really enjoyed working with you. For me, almost 4 years, and for Coach a little bit over a year. Just all 17 of you. It was a very enjoyable spring for the short time that we had, and looking forward to seeing some of you go off and develop and grow, and others of you coming back and being part of this program in the future. Thanks.